Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. We're going to look at the games for Thursday, March the 23rd. There are 4 games on the schedule. We're going to break each one of these games down and come up with some picks. But before we get started, guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to get alerted when my videos come on. Yesterday, guys, if you look at the video, we hit 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 plays yesterday we hit. We're going to look to continue on with this momentum. See if we can find something good to play in the games for this Thursday. With that being said, guys, let's get rolling. In the first game of the schedule, guys, we have the New York Knicks in Orlando to take on the Magic. The Knicks are currently a 3-point road favorite. I had the Knicks estimated as a 2.5-point favorite. Line is pretty accurate, just a half-point difference between my line and the actual line. The Knicks were in action against the Miami Heat. They ended up losing that game. Miami showed a little higher sense of urgency. They did need to win a little more than the Knicks, and they got the job done. The Knicks have now lost 2 straight games. And if you look at the scores of those games, they have given up quite a few points, and the Knicks are known for being one of the top defensive teams in the league. The Knicks are in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. They have a 4-game difference between themselves and the 4th place Cleveland Cavs. I don't think they're going to be catching them. There are only around 10 games left in the regular season. But the Brooklyn Nets and the Miami Heat, which they just lost to, are just 2 games. At a distance of 2 games, with the Miami Heat looking to really be threatening for one of these spots, possibly the 5th spot. The good thing with the Knicks, guys, is I looked at the remaining schedule. They do have a pretty easy remaining schedule, probably one of the easiest ones remaining in the NBA. So this game against the Orlando Magic, you can't really consider it a must-win. On the remaining schedule, guys, just take a look at these teams that are left on the Knicks schedule. We got Orlando, which they're playing tonight. Then they got Houston, Miami, which is going to be a tough game, and Cleveland. Then they got Washington, Indiana, New Orleans, and Indiana again. A lot of those teams out of the playoff picture. Most of them are bottom-tier teams. The Knicks, I think, with around 3 or 4 wins in the remaining schedule, they should be fine. And in tonight's game against the Magic, this is going to be their 3rd game in 4 nights, and the starters did play quite a few minutes in the game against Miami. Like I said, this is not a must-win situation. Tom Thibodeau might take his foot off the gas a bit. The team does not do any load management, though that's a good thing about the Knicks. All the players play in all the games. And the Orlando Magic, guys, talk about the Orlando Magic. They are a team that has been out of playoff contention for quite a while now. Mathematically, they have not been eliminated, but there's a very, very low chance that they could do anything. But they play out every single game, guys. There's no tanking on this team. It is not in their vocabulary. The young players are playing out the rest of the schedule. They're balling out too. On the road trip, recent West Coast road trip, they did lose 3 out of the 4 games, but were very competitive in the last 3. If you exclude the big loss that they had to the San Antonio Spurs, they beat the Clippers, lost tough to the Lakers, and also to the Phoenix Suns. This is a tough spot for the Knicks. Like I just mentioned, in this game, I'm going to be rolling with Orlando and the +3. In the second game of the schedule, guys, we have the Cleveland Cavs in Brooklyn taking on the Nets. Cleveland is currently a 4-point favorite. I had Cleveland favored by 3.5 as my estimate, just a half-point difference, my line with the actual line. These 2 teams faced off against each other just a couple of nights ago. Cleveland won that game by 6. But the final score doesn't really do justice with what actually happened in that game. Cleveland was up big. They got up by over 20 points. Brooklyn made a late surge, fell short to 6. Didn't get close to turning this game around and winning. But the 6 points does make it look a little more respectable than what actually took place. In this game, guys, the line is exactly the same as it was a couple nights ago. Jarrett Allen came back for Cleveland in that game. He made a difference down in the paint. Cleaned up a lot of boards, and just his presence alone in the paint. Him and Evan Mobley, always a tough defensive structure for any team to go against. Brooklyn is a team, guys, that is known for being very streaky, especially after the trades with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant leaving the team, and the players that they got in return. They have been on a downtrend. They have lost 4 straight games. They are currently in the 6th spot, but practically tied with Miami. The 6th spot, as we all know, leads to a direct playoff berth, something that's very important. A lot of teams do want to avoid the play-in tournament. Brooklyn looks like it probably will not avoid the play-in tournament because Miami has been playing so well and they have been on a surge. The Knicks, can't see them dropping out. So Brooklyn looks like they will probably be dropping to the 7th or an 8th seed, if not worse, if they keep reeling. Cleveland, guys, has a 4-game difference between themselves, and Cleveland and New York, the 3rd and the 5th place teams, respectively. Which means pretty much the remaining schedule for them is an opportunity actually for the coach to possibly play a lot more of his rotation players, not risk too many injuries for his starters. Pick his spots where he wants. There's no sense of urgency on Cleveland, whereas with Brooklyn there is a sense of urgency. They do need wins. So with all these facts that I just stated, I'm going to be looking to take a play with Brooklyn here. Brooklyn and +4. In the 3rd game of the schedule, guys, we have the Charlotte Hornets traveling to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. The Pelicans are currently 7.5-point favorites. I had New Orleans favored by 7 in this game. Half-point difference, my line with the actual line. The Pelicans, we know, are in the mix for a possible playoff spot in the Western Conference, a very, very tight Western Conference. If you guys just take a look at what's going on over there, complete madness. The 5th place Clippers have 35 losses, and the 12th place Pelicans have 37 losses. That's how tight it is. There are a bunch of teams battling it out over there. Every game is important in the Western Conference. The Hornets, guys, on the other hand, we know they're second to last in the Eastern Conference. They're not playing for anything. In their last game, they did get a nice win against the Pacers. Showed some grit. They got down 20 in that game. They could have easily packed it in, but they made a big run, came back, won that ball game. Any tanking for them, guys, makes pretty much no difference. They're going to finish second to last in the East. It can't get any worse for them or any better. So they could play out this game and go for the W. It won't have any effect in their tanking process. Hornets, guys, can be a tough outfit, but if you look at the Pelicans, guys, what's interesting here with the Pelicans is if you look at the remaining schedule, they have a very, very tough road ahead of them. If you exclude this game against the Charlotte Hornets, their next games are on the road against the Clippers. Are going to head out for a road trip. They play the Clippers. Then they go to Portland, which is a doable, a winnable game. Then they got Golden State, Denver. Then come back home to play the Clippers, Sacramento, Memphis, New York, and Minnesota. An extremely tough schedule. I haven't seen the remaining schedule for a lot of teams, but I'm sure this is right up there with one of the toughest ones. Which makes this game against the Hornets, guys, definitely a must-win. I think the sense of urgency will be really high, and in their previous games, they have shown that they're going for it. News also came out that Zion is just a couple of weeks away. If they can somehow manage to sneak into this play-in tournament and Zion comes back, you never know. They could make a little bit of noise, even though he hasn't played in months now. Still, his presence alone can give him some chances. Even though, guys, if you just look at that remaining schedule, chances are most likely than not they will not be making it and will be in the draft lottery, but they are giving it their shot. So in this game, the only way I can go, guys, in this matchup is with New Orleans and the -7.5. And in the last matchup of the night, guys, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder in Los Angeles taking on the Clippers. The Clippers are currently 3-point favorites. I had them estimated as a 3.5-point favorite. These two teams matched up with each other again just a couple nights ago. The Oklahoma City Thunder won that game by a point, squeezed out a 1-point W. Lou Dort got a nice stop at the end of that game against Kawhi Leonard. He was dribbling. The team looked out of sorts. They should have taken a timeout. They didn't. They played out the clock, and they got the loss. The most important news, though, coming out of that game was that the injury to Paul George, the reason why this line is so low, he hyperextended his knee. It looked a lot worse than the news that we got afterwards. It's just a sprained knee. It seems they're going to reevaluate him after 2-3 weeks. Fortunately, the injury was not worse. It did kind of remind me of Giannis's injury in a couple of years ago during their playoff run where he hyperextended his knee. It looked bad, but he came back just a couple of days later and played. I think that's why they call him the Greek Freak, because that was pretty freakish to come back from an injury like that. Paul George, they're going to keep him out for a couple of weeks. It says 2-3 weeks. They're going to reevaluate him. Hopefully he comes back sooner than later. But in this game, guys, the Clippers, I do expect them to struggle in this game. Paul George is a big part of what they do, especially now that Norm Powell, their sixth man, he could have replaced him. He is a very good player. He's still out with a shoulder injury. He's not going to be playing. Things are going to get ugly, I think, without when Kawhi Leonard goes to the bench. Things get a little ugly. And we know the Oklahoma City Thunder guys are a tough outfit. And they're making their push. They're making the push to make the playoffs. They're one of the teams that's in that group that are hunting for a playoff spot and playoff positioning. They could easily, guys, move up to 5th, possibly even 4th if they finish out the season getting on a roll. The Clippers, we know, are most likely going to struggle, and there's a very high risk, guys, that they could fall into the play-in tournament. Things are not looking good for the Clippers. In this game, guys, usually I don't like betting on teams that are actually betting against a team that's going to be missing a star player in the first game. Usually that's a recipe for disaster. We see things like this happen all the time where the star player misses and the team ends up winning. But I think in this matchup, guys, the Clippers, I don't know if they can counter Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all the young guys on that team. They're playing with no fear, and they're playing very well. So my pick in this game, guys, is with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the +3. And these are the games that we have for this Thursday, March the 23rd. 4 games on the schedule. We broke down each one of these games, came up with our picks, did our analysis, and we are ready to roll. Now, guys, if anything changes between now and game time, I'll update these picks on my Twitter and my Telegram. If you guys are interested, you can give me a follow on one of those 2 platforms, or both if you like. And also, guys, remember, if you like this video, if you like my analysis, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. I do my videos every day, and from time to time, guys, I drop my special nuke bomb plays. These are plays that I get really hot with, and I drop them at any time. Most of the times closer towards game time when I get some extra information that I like, and if I see some line movement that I like, I'll post them here on YouTube. So make sure, guys, to subscribe and hit the notification bell. These picks have been undefeated ever since I started them. And with that being said, guys, good luck on whatever you decide to bet, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.